In this lesson, I'm going to explain to you what a media profile is and how to use media profiles with the media profile library. Now to do that, I'll bring up the RIP Manager by clicking on this button up here. I come down to RIP Manager, click on that, and our RIP Manager loads up, and you can see our print jobs in the side here and previews here. Now, the media profiles library is located in this under this printer settings tab here, and it's in here, media library. Click on that, and that brings up the media profile library, as you can see here. Now, the media profile library lets you take all your ink and media combinations and their respective settings, along with their related ICC profile or profiles, to create a unique media profile for each set of these combinations, which you can then save off as a single profile to be stored here in the media profiles library. So I'll explain that each step of the way here. So the first thing is we have our media profile. So this is like our heading. This is where all our settings are stored under this particular profile. I've got a few in here. So under this solvent flex banner high quality, which I've created here, there's the media type, the media name, the print settings, and the ICC profile. All of these things in combination are saved under this one heading, which we call a media profile, and we give it a name. So all of these settings can be all individually adjusted and changed and manipulated the way we want to use them, and we can come in here and set ink channel limits and channel splitting issues and all these sorts of things, and all of these things combined equal this one media profile. And this whole window stores each one of these profiles in the library. So this is like this drop down is my library of profiles that I've created, and I've set all these parameters for each profile. So this is what this is all about. Now I'll explain to you why that's important. If I just click cancel here and I come back in here, so I've got this roll-in printer here and I've got it connected to my USB port in this particular example. I've got my media profile. So I've selected this media profile here, this high quality one here out of my list, and this now contains all the information that I just showed you in the media profile library, things like the ICC profile, the render intent I'm using, the print mode, and things like media width, etc. So these these options here are stored within the media profile, and I can actually adjust these on the fly. But what I can do is I can come here and select another media profile, and all these things will change based on this profile. So rather than having a situation where I have a list of, say, I don't know, 20 options in, say, a window like this, where I've got to go and set each individual one depending on what job I'm printing. So if I'm printing this job, I might have to, come in here and change 20 different options, and then if I want to print this job, I've got to change another 20 options. Instead of going to all that hassle and making it all so difficult, all the options and the parameters for each profile are stored under the one media profile. And that's why we have a media profile library, because this is where we actually set all the settings for each individual profile. And we store them in here, and if we change anything, we just update it. So that's a great part about media profiles in the library system, because what we can do is we can actually take a copy of an existing, like we can click here and go copy this particular profile, slightly change its name, and change some of its parameters ever so slightly, because we might have a particular instance where we're using a slightly different media. We might be changing our ink set, we might be using a different ICC profile, perhaps a different render intent, all these sorts of things, or we might be fiddling around with our channel splitting to try and get the best possible results out of our large format printer. We use this media profiles library to create individual profiles based on their settings for individual applications, but we can group them all into the one profile. We don't have to go and have hundreds of settings all over the place and not know what's what. We can store them all in individual profiles, and that's a great advantage with this methodology. And so that's what we're doing. We can come in here, we can select which profile we want to use. We're quite happy with that. We click OK, and then when we click print here, all these settings that are a part of this profile are applied, so that if I wanted to print this job, I just simply click print. I go yes, move that out the way to show you. You can see it's immediately printing this job here. On it goes through, it's ripping and printing, and that's all based on the media library that I've selected here. So I know what results I'm going to get each time. I'm not going to be surprised with my results. As you can see back in the job queue, it's still going here. It's nearly finished this job. 60 inches long by 24 inches wide. It's quite fast. The job's printed. Now this has been sent to my large format printer, and because I've set the correct media profile, the results I get printed out are the results that I expect. Now, for example, if I'm doing this job here, and for some reason this is on a different material, or I'm using a different ink set, or I want to use a different ICC profile, I can come here and select a different profile that I'm using. Like I might want to print this in draft mode, and this might be on my banner here. So I can do that. I can actually change the profile to suit each individual job, or I can just set this and forget it if I'm doing the same work all the time. I might only ever work with one type of media, but then again I might change my media. I might even change my printers. So I can, if I change my printer to something else, I can use a media profile based on the other printer I'm using, because they're all stored in this one big library here. That's the way the media profiles library works. So that explains how the media profile library, how you open it up and look at it. There's individual lessons here on how to adjust ink channels and adjust the channel splitting. I've also done another lesson on how to create new profiles from scratch. You can install profiles up here from the DVD, the extras DVD, or if you download profiles from our website, you can install them this way. You can also see the view, you can view the gamut of each individual ICC profile you've got. As you can see here, as I change these, you see how this, like this particular profile here is much smaller than say this one, which is a much larger, has a much larger gamut. In other words, it prints a far wider range of colors here, and I can sort of roll this around and have a look and just make sure that this profile is actually suitable for what I'm using. There's my tone reproduction curves. This profile is not that great. It's actually got a few issues, this profile. It's got these missing spots, so you get a bit of blotching with this particular profile, for an example. You can see the RGB color gamut here, and that's the profile's color gamut. In other words, it is within the RGB profile or color gamut, which is my monitor. So this is representing my monitor here, and this is representing the profile I've selected. And as I change these things, you can see how this profile changes. Okay, so that's how we, and you can see this profile is a far superior profile. It's far smoother. You're not going to get discontinuity in between your prints. So that's how we load up our media profiles. We simply select them from this drop-down list. We can create them, we can adjust each one of them, and then we can resave them off. We can copy them and save them as a slightly different name. We can see how our ICC profiles are working with our particular media profiles, and we can manage our whole profile system from this window. And that's how we do it with media profiles, and that's the end of this lesson.